Welcome to beautiful, windswept, downtown Kansas City, Missouri. We're back on a very special quest, which is why we've come here to the Kansas City Convention Center for Planet Comicon. This comic book convention has been going since 1999, and it has become one of, if not the largest pop culture convention in the Midwest. And that alone would make me excited to see it. But inside this convention today, supposedly, it's a guy I've been looking forward to meet for the last couple of years. I'm talking about the world-famous Disney comic artist, Don Rosa. Now, perhaps you're thinking, I've never heard of Don Rosa. Who is this Don Rosa? Don Rosa is an artist and a writer who started working on the Walt Disney's Uncle Scrooge comics in 1987. This is the first issue he ever wrote and drew for, and sort of took over the mythology of Uncle Scrooge. And he rarely ever does appearances in the United States. The European market is a little bit more into the Scrooge comics. When I found out several months ago he was going to be here in Kansas City, I was like, this is it. This is my shot. Oh my gosh, look at this. The Ice King, Wolverine, and more than that, look at the size of this place. It is absolutely packed in here. It's heaving. Blue Snaggletooth. I've been to quite a few small comic conventions when I was thinking, oh, Planet Comicon, Kansas City, it won't be that huge. So far from what I'm seeing, this might be second only to San Diego Comic-Con in terms of the busiest cons I've ever been to. Look at that, you got frickin' Emperor Palpatine over here, you got a Mandalorian, there's a giant Bluey over here with some Five Nights at Freddy's characters. Anything and everything you could possibly imagine, and I'm looking for just one guy in all of this. This is amazing, dude. This is crazy. Now I'm here on the Saturday. I was flying here on the Friday, the first day of the convention. This is the busiest day from what I've heard. As you can see, there's just tons of stuff here. There's art everywhere, merchandise, there are cosplayers everywhere, furries everywhere, even Johnny Depp. Look at this, even royalty attends Planet Comic-Con. He's got a whole posse right there, the king. All right, here's a little artist's alley over here. Hopefully this is the right area where I should be heading. I cannot believe this all started in '99 with one guy, this guy Chris Jackson, I think his name was, just a local comics retailer who thought there should be a Comic-Con in Kansas City. And boy, was he ever right. Look at the size of this. I mean, look at the size of just the map with all the names on it of the celebrities and guests. And I managed to find him. Don Rosa is here. Christopher Lloyd is here. Amy Jo Johnson, the pink Power Ranger. Andy Serkis, John Rhys Davies. Okay, don't get distracted. We gotta find Don Rosa first. And unfortunately, he's not in the Artist Alley area. He is all the way across the convention. Well, at least we'll get to see some cosplayers along the way. Oh my gosh, is that the Goblin King? Oh yes, my first droid sighting of the day. Okay, I may have screwed up because I just realized this entire aisle here, this whole aisle on this side of the convention center, all has the number that Don Rosa is at. Hey, Yoto. Ah! Oh my gosh. And good thing I turned around because I see him. I see Don Rosa sitting right there. The little white-haired guy right there. Don Rosa. Oh my gosh, dude, this is amazing. Look at all the amazing prints that he has over here. He only takes cash, so I'm gonna need to find an ATM to come back to Don Rosa's booth. This is incredible. I don't get starstruck very easily, but I'm a little starstruck right now. I'm not gonna lie. All right, luckily I figured out where Don Rosa is. Now the side quest is trying to find an ATM in this crazy place. Look at this though. Dun, 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 dun. They're promoting Back to the Future, the musical. Apparently it's playing in Kansas City, or else why in the world? Yeah, there it is right there. Kansas City, Back to the Future, the musical. And look at that beauty right there. The engines are garbage. A lot of people say the DeLorean, not a reliable car. I don't care. I'd still love to own one. Look at that. Oh my gosh, and look at this. What the heck? Oh, it's No Face. It's No Face. I thought it might be the ghost of Christmas Future. You know, Muppet Christmas Carol. No. It's No Face. All right, this is one of those times where I don't want to be too manly. I'm not too manly to ask for directions. This says information. I'm going to get some information. Oh my gosh, Barnacle Boy is over here. All right, the information folks told me that there's an ATM along this same wall. So maybe if I just stick to the back. Oh yeah, look at that, behind the Artist Alley. Nice little walkway right here. a lot less crowded. I can move a lot quicker. All right. Look at this meeting of the cosplayers. You got some furries, you got some wild Northmen over here or something. There's so much going on here. I'm so overstimulated. And there are multiple buildings and multiple levels. Look at this. More excitement below. There always is. All right, mission accomplished. It took a while and there was quite a line, but I did find an ATM. I have cash. Okay, now I'm nervous. Don has a little bit of a reputation for being a little prickly, mostly because a lot of people will be like, is this DuckTales? That's why so many signs that say not DuckTales on the booth. I don't think the move will be to stick a camera directly in his face, so let me go in and see what happens. Okay, this is awesome. Don is actually super cool. His reputation for being prickly is unwarranted, although, as he just said, I don't suffer fools. Look at this. I got a couple of things signed. I'm going to basically feast on prints, and he's talking to me about having this huge comic collection that he's assembled. I am so stoked right now. Cloud 9. I highly recommend go to Amazon and buy a copy of The Life and Times of Scrooge McDuck. You will not regret it. Guys, there's so many great freaking prints. There he is, Yukon Scrooge. If you read The Life and Times, you'll know what I'm talking about. Yukon Scrooge is the jam, and I've been invited into the inner sanctum. Don Rosa is super cool. This is the Justin Scarred curse over here, because of course, as soon as he invites me back here to have a chat, the line gets massive for Don Rosa. See, it's an obscure thing, but it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be obscure. This is what I love about these random adventures. I never know what in the world is going to happen. I have been shanghaied, kidnapped by Don Rosa. I've got my stack of prints here waiting to be signed. He's like, no, sit down. I want to talk to you for a while. The biggest thing is I've got a friend who literally travels around the world with the life and times of Scrooge McDuck. That's how good it is. It's like the Bible almost to him. I think that impressed Don Rosa over here because, as I've been witnessing, he really appreciates people who know his work and appreciate his work. I can definitely relate to that. And he's a kindred spirit. I don't know why he has the reputation for being prickly that I was warned about. He's taking like all the time in the world with each person. He told me, just come sit back here. We'll have a long chat. I mean, this is really cool. Super cool dude. It's, they always say don't meet your heroes, you know, and I've met plenty of my heroes, especially in music, that were just horrible people. Never bothers me, though, in the sense that, like, if I like someone's work, I like their work, whether they're a bad or good person or not. But it's always nice to meet someone whose work you really genuinely admire, who's also awesome, you know? So this is a great day. What is this life? What is this life? I've been sitting here for an hour now, and I'll tell you what I like the most, is that he's telling everyone he talks to about Carl Barks, who was the creator of Scrooge McDuck, and he's, like, explaining this and that and the other thing. Carl Barks is also famous, mostly famous, I think, for doing all the Donald Duck comics. So he's explaining the evolution of Donald Duck to people and of Scrooge. Very particular about credit where credit is due, which is awesome. Okay, well, Don is being super cool. He had kind of a little bit of a line. He goes, yeah, just leave your bag here, leave your stuff here, don't worry, but come back. So I'm coming back later. In the meantime, I'm going from Don and now looking for John Rhys Davies. I was just texting his manager and he goes, come by the booth. So now I'm gonna go see John Rhys Davies, Sala himself again. It's weird, it must be a generational thing because I love the Lord of the Rings films, I really do. In fact, on that first extended DVD of Fellowship of the Ring, my name is in the credits. I was part of the Lord of the Rings fan club even. But if I think of John Rhys Davies, I think Sala or General Pushkin. But I couldn't believe when we were at Disneyland the other day, the second day that I was with them, the day after we rode Indiana Jones together in the video that you guys saw, how many people stopped and were like, Gimli! I was like, oh yeah, he was Gimli. Oh, that's cool, look at this. There's a whole booth just for protective sleeves, and then look at this over here. All kinds of like blacklight art, glow art over here. There's a ton of art here, which is really refreshing to see. Most comic conventions, at least on the West Coast, have sort of turned more into celebrity fests, you know? Pop culture fests. It's nice to see that this one is still all about the comics and the art. I really want to rifle through those bins, but I feel like Indiana Jones is gonna find all the good stuff before I can get to it. Oh yeah, look at all these comic books over here. Oh, so much old school X-Men. Tons of stuff for cosplay. So many people in costumes out here. Gene Simmons? Oh, now this is where I get in trouble. You guys have seen my office, especially if you're on Patreon. The morning announcements, you're in my office all the time. And it is chock full of figures, because toys, action figures, those were my only friends growing up. So I see vintage toys and I just start drooling. This is cool though. Look at this Legacy Forge. I got a bunch of props back here. Some signs. This is cool. Shrunken Head. I like the name of this booth is Boomer Comics. Look at that, a lot of superhero comics over here. I'm hoping to find one that has a lot of old Dell comics, old Disney comics. Oh, look at this right here. Walt Disney's Duck album. There's some Donald Duck comics right in the back. Let me see if I can find, yeah, here we go. Look at this. See, Walt Disney's Donald Duck. And for years, the artists didn't really get their names on the issues, but Carl Barks was always known as the good duck artist. And he did other Disney comics as well. You can see there's Chip and Dale comics in here. Oh, that's probably Carl Barks right there. And see, these comics are amazing. I mean, some of these stories are just absolutely incredible. And they're kind of hard to find, mostly because, you know, the comics industry kind of runs on superheroes, and these days Marvel movies and all that kind of stuff. It's very difficult to find a comic shop, where I live anyways, that stocks the old Dell comics, Gold Key comics, the old Disney stuff. But I just love reading them. They're so fun to touch, and I always think about, like, who had this in the 60s? Uh-oh. Even in Kansas City, I can't escape scary clowns. Wow, dude, this is huge. So I've been trying to wrap my head around to consider doing more meetups or conventions myself. People are always asking me to do them, and for years I've mostly turned up, most of the opportunities to do it down. Oogie boogie! Nice. Anyway, I've been strongly reconsidering, and I have met a ton of people today who asked me, like, oh, are you gonna get a booth here? And you know what? If it's possible, I just might. Maybe next year I could be Don Rosa's neighbor. Okay, this one is called Route 66 Comics. I definitely have to come back over here and at least take a browse if I get a chance. Luckily, I will be here tomorrow. Actually, I'll be out here for 3 days, as a matter of fact. The convention was yesterday, which I missed, today, and tomorrow. So I have one more day. And Don kept asking me, you gonna be here tomorrow? Yeah, I'll be here. Oh, we'll have a long chat. I got some stories to tell you. Like, awesome. Look at this, a little bit of everything over here. Some dragon statues. Maybe I can get one for Allie for her birthday. They got some prop weapons over here. And oh my gosh, there he is. There he is. I found him. There's Waldo. Mario and Luigi over here. I don't know what's going on at this booth. So now we're headed into the celebrity zone. I can see Amy Jo Johnson's over there, the pink Power Ranger, and look at this. Here's the sign right here. No photography, video, or audio recording allowed in this area. So right here I can film, but if I travel beyond this sign, I'm not allowed to film. Luckily the camera's on the other side of the sign. See, technicality. Anyway, I've got to find John Rhys Davies, and apparently I can't take you with me. We'll see what happens. All right, I see Andy Serkis' booth. I'm assuming John will be close. Be right back. Dude, I'm risking getting yelled at right here, but it's worth it. Look at that. It's Henry Jones Sr. No one ever dresses up as Henry Jones Sr. Yeah! Well, as soon as I took that little sneaky clip, I turned around, there was a guy right on my shoulder. It was like, put the camera down. Okay. So I went over to John, talked to his manager. Just gonna pop in and say hello to Chris Bartlett over there, who does all the droids for Lucasfilm, who I just met the other day. Wish I could pull you guys back there with me, but as you see, it's a security notice. We don't want to ignore a security notice. Whoa, dude, that's the first time I've ever seen that. That's a freaking Cylon out here. That is crazy cool. Starting to get kind of thirsty. It's almost tempted to have some Fat Bee boba tea. I love the little eating areas. You see Disney princesses. There's a couple of more Waldos back there. A couple of more. There's some grammar for you. Wow, look at this. There's a whole suit of Mandalorian armor right there. Boba Fett style armor. For sale. Look at that. The whole kit right there. That is cool. Oh, and one of my favorite things ever. Action figures, custom action figures. Look at that, some 3D printed transparent figures, a bunch of different custom loose figures. These are always my favorites. Look at that on the left, Dagobah. And look, the Force classic. I love custom action figures. I wish I was a better maker so I could make some. I always have good ideas. The execution, not so good. Not good at sculpting small stuff. There we go, top tier figures. They've got all this great stuff. The Doom Patrol. I love that. Hoth Snow. And then there's E.T. right there. Karen. All right, that might be one of my favorites I've ever seen. Darth Vader from the planet Vulcan. Top tier figures. They just told me they got a QR code. Scan that QR code. Get some figures. Oh, they just said they'll take requests. They'll do anything. You guys have done everything. Look at this stuff.
If you think it up, we'll do it.
There's some custom gnomes over here. Grizzled Gruff Hollow. I just like seeing anything custom and weird and artistic. This is so cool. There it is. Grizzled Gruff Hollow. Oh my gosh, there is so much neat, weird, bizarre stuff at this show. Oh my gosh, it's Baymax. Baymax! Look at the size of him! Oh my gosh, it's Grimace. Peacekeeping Grimace. Loaded up with ketchup packets. Lord Vader! Oh, I'm a huge fan. I was mostly sitting with Don Rosa this whole time and then just going over to talk to John's manager, see Chris Bartlett and all that. So I haven't had that much time out on the show floor, but from what I've seen, I'm already overwhelmed. And that's not even getting into like the panels and all the stuff out here. Look at this, look at these. Oh, Luke Steiner. It's amazing how many of these shows there are now, you know, like all over the country. This has to be one of the biggest. I mean, it's huge. Absolutely packed with people dressed as anime characters and Jedi and everything you can possibly think of. I wonder what these are. I see all these boxes. The Office, Jurassic Park, G.I. Joe. What are these, just sort of random boxes? I'm curious. What are these? Just little mystery boxes? These are amazing. Wow, look at the Mad Hatters over there. Johnny Depp and Johnny Depp? Lots of characters I recognize. Also lots of characters that I don't necessarily recognize. Now I'm getting distracted. Now I'm going down a side hallway towards the Great Hall and Grand Ballroom, but only because I just spotted a great Spock. Look at that. Boy, he really does look a lot like Leonard Nimoy. Leonard Nimoy? Amazing. I want one of those Star Trek movie style uniforms one day. I think the uniforms from the films would be more flattering on me than the tight suits. Still working off my pandemic puff. Wait a minute, where am I going? I'm not going towards any panels. Oh, snack bar over here. Everybody's waiting in line. Or maybe it's waiting in line for the medical tent. I don't know. I just love seeing everybody's costumes. Everybody's dressed up. You know what's crazy is for the first 30 years of my life, I never went to comic conventions. Never. I'm chatty and I'll talk your ear off once we get talking, but most people don't know I'm actually very, very shy in real life, like cripplingly so in the right conditions. Hold on, hold that thought. Exterminate! Look at that thing. That is so cool. Look at the Dalek coming through. I'm surprised people aren't making way. They want to be exterminated. Anyway, I was in the whole punk rock scene, right? And none of my friends ever came to these things. And I was literally just too shy. Like I was always like, I don't know anybody. Who am I going to talk to? And then I discovered that these kinds of conventions are like the friendliest places in the world. Like someone might see your t-shirt or your button and be like, hey, I like that too. And you just get together, you get to talking, which is what these are all about. Dude, and the vibes here at Planet Comicon are really good. A ton of people have stopped me and talked to me, told me they like the videos, which is crazy. I don't expect that in Kansas City. This might already be one of my favorite conventions I've ever been to ever. All right, here is a booth over here, Comic Book College. Don Rosa recommended this one to me. He does a lot of shows. Doesn't do a lot in the United States, unfortunately for me. But he does this one every year, apparently. He said this one's the most likely to have some of his work stashed away over here. Oh, no way, dude. Space Ghost. Rest in peace, Space Ghost. Ooh, there's another thing I really love. Stan Sakai, Usagi Yojimbo. That is my other jam, dude. I love Stan Sakai's work. Dude, I love that. I love the old school 90s Wolverine. I love this guy. He's just dressed as an adventurer. Okay, check this out. Uncle Scrooge right here. I'm gonna rifle through these. Mega Man, dude. There's freaking Mega Man comics? I never knew there were Mega... What the heck is that? That doesn't look like me. Wow, never knew that existed. Oh, there it is. Some Don Rosa work. Right there. Look at that, Uncle Scrooge. This is straight up Life and Times. I have to get this. It goes with my Life and Times books, and those were too heavy to bring out here. So I'm gonna have Don Rosa sign this for me. I mean, as long as I gotta go back, might as well get one more for the pile. I gotta say too, Don has been signing his work for free. Free pictures, free autographs. He sells all those prints to make up for it. See, I need to do something like that. That's been my big hesitation, like I was talking about earlier. I don't see anything wrong with charging for pictures or autographs, especially if you're gonna have a line so huge it would take 25 days to get through otherwise. Someone like a Mark Hamill or a John Rhys Davies. I come from a different world. I come from like the punk rock world, you know, where nobody really does that. I've always just been kind of uncomfortable with it. Oh, we meet again, Wolverine, we meet again. So honestly, behind the scenes, part of the reason for me being here is just research. Now, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of stuff that I'd love to go and see in Kansas City other than what's here at Planet Comicon. There's some great museums here. This was Walt Disney's hometown. If anywhere was his actual hometown, it was Kansas City. I mean, as a boy, he delivered newspapers all over Kansas City, so he knew this town back to front, up and down. I haven't filmed any of those spots for 11 years? There's tons of good museums. There's lots to see, and we'll get to it. But look how epic this place is. I could walk around all day just looking at the costumes. Oh, and look at that, dude. Look at that frickin' chicken walker right there. We got a Sith trooper out in front. And the Endor frickin' bunker. The Endor bunker. I once ran through the woods. I was running through the woods, long story, to go to, and I have been to the exact spot where they shot those scenes. It looks nothing like it used to do. It's been graded and bulldozed and logged. There's literally no trees to match up. The hill has changed a bit. Some years before I got there, a Star Wars Insider magazine writer got there and took the last little bits of plywood away. Ooh, I don't know what this is from. That is one scary werewolf right there. Oh, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man just got startled by this little Krampus. Now they're facing off. Are you a god? Look at that, all with no words. I'm glad he jumped out at the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and not me. Look at all this. Okay, oh, I see. The KC Predators costuming group. So this is their booth. Gosh dang it. Look at these guys. They have Predator costumes. Now that I've never seen before. That I have never seen before. Look at some of these masks and everything available over here. I see multiple Mandalorians. Oh my gosh, look at that Jawa right there. I love that. I love the sand crawler. That is so cool. Ooh, TD! Oh, and look at there's Jabba the Hutt, and his tongue is moving. Creepy. Like how sick is this? This is the 501st? Who did this? That is one epic, sick, custom Jabba the Hutt. That is amazing. Oh, this guy John built Jabba the Hutt. That's amazing. Is it for the 501st? Is that what it's for?
I work with them, but I'm not in the fight.
Okay, so this is just you. This is just you being awesome. Well, as someone who's appreciating it, I appreciate it. This is so cool. I love this. I love that. It's basically like a little wagon. This little Jawa is carrying around all the supplies, right? That's what I need. I can hold on to my stuff better like that. Ooh. Holy Sith. The Mother of Dragons is here. This is interesting. I've never seen this before. There's a cosplay and medic station. I guess in case you get dehydrated or something. A couple of Leias, a TV news reporter. What do you think? So many Mandalorians everywhere. The face of Star Wars fandom has really evolved. Oh, no way. Full Metal Alchemist. Oh, Allie would love to see that. Look at this costume right here. I don't know what that's made out of, but they did such a good job. Look at Alphonse's suit of armor. Well, it's not his suit of armor. He is the suit of armor. Crazy. Full Metal Alchemist. I never would have watched that if it wasn't for Allie, but I have watched the whole thing. Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Look at some of these costumes are just incredible. Duff Cosplay. Duff Cosplay. Oh, Sensor Scope R2-D2. I never see R2-D2 with this little sensor scope. Oh, look at this. The thingies, the things. Castle in the Sky. That is so cool. Just two robots checking each other out. Is this a budding romance? Who can say? Who can say? Oh my gosh, you got Zelda stuff. You got some other video game stuff. A lot of these guys must be friends because their boots are kind of spilling into each other. You got Hoku props. Got some wigs over here. Oh my gosh, Princess Peach. Oh, and of course, the old Wild Bills. I haven't seen this in a long time, but I used to see this at like every convention. You buy the mug, you bring it the next time, and you get cheaper refills. Pretty good root beer. Got some Hobbits and a Nazgul. Oh, we got a Padme over here. There's a polka dot samurai walking around. Oh, here we go. Here's the Mecca. Here we go. We got the droid builders. And look at all of these droids. Amazing. Look, here's one in various stages of completion. Oh no! A Captain Rex! Look at that! A Starspeeder Cap. I want to build one of those. I mean, you never see that. That is awesome. Oh, here's another guy you never see. Oh my gosh. It is amazing what people can do now. I always wanted an astromech droid. That was like always a dream to get my own working R2-D2. They're just so expensive to build, and you really have to be involved in the building. I never met anyone who was like, yeah, just pay for the parts and I'll do it for you. Don't think I didn't try that approach. It's just that apparently they're just so involved to build, so complicated, and each one is so custom. The owner has pretty much got to be involved, or else you're gonna pay full retail from somebody, that's for sure. Wow, oh, that's amazing. Look at that wheelchair right there. Is this for Magic wheelchair? No, walking and rolling costumes, one-of-a-kind costumes, free of charge to the families. I sent some money to Magic Wheelchair because they do the same thing, to sort of give kids with different mobility issues free epic costumes so they can roll out, in this case, to the Comicon, that little Batmobile over there, or jet along through the con, and they can be part of it. And they're often some of the most like sort of epic things you've ever seen. They just told me they're based right here in Kansas City, so it's a local epic costume building organization, very similar to Magic Wheelchair, but a local Kansas City one. And apparently they are accepting donations, so you can donate or you can sponsor a kid walking and rolling costumes. Man, I see so much stuff I don't even recognize. I don't even know what it is. It gets my curiosity all fired up. What's going on over here? What is going on over here? John Marks presents Falcor and Friends. What in the holy moly? Look at the size of that Falcor. You got the freaking rock giant over here, and then look at this photo op. Here's a fun one. Try to pull Artex out of the swamp. Oh no, my childhood. I feel that. I feel it. Because they don't want people taking selfies over there in front of it, because it is a sort of pay-to-play thing. But you can pay to take a selfie pulling Artex's little reins out of there. So, funny story. Noah Hathaway, the kid that played Atreyu in the Never-Ending Story, the one who pulled on the reins of the original Artax in the movie, we have a mutual friend. And I was actually in the background of a movie that Noah was in. He was filming with my friend Tom Devlin for Plan 10 Pictures, and the movie was called Las Vegas Frankenstein. For a second I wasn't going to mention it because I was just, my mind drifted back to the days when it was still top secret. But the movie's out now. I think it's on Tubi and different places like that. Oh, Your Majesty. Anyways, I met Noah Hathaway. I met Atreyu himself, who's also super into like punk rock and stuff. Super cool, super nice dude. Look at this. At first I was checking out all the Spartans over here, all the guys in the Halo armor, and then I noticed they built a freaking Halo. I don't know who built this fan-made Halo. Oh, but that is incredible, dude. This is awesome. That's another thing I always wanted. When Halo 2 came out, this goes to show you how nerdy I was. I wasn't coming to comic conventions, but I should have been, because when Halo 2 came out, I made a full suit of Master Chief armor out of cardboard and like spray paint and duct tape. It was nothing like this. I wish it looked more like that. I made a buddy who I'll call Glenn for the purposes of this video wear the armor, and then the night that it came out, at midnight, we went to GameStop or one of those stores, dressed up in the Halo armor. We were the only people there. I thought it'd be a whole thing. I thought it'd be a whole fan frenzy, you know? But Halo was big back then in terms of people playing it. Not as big in terms of the fandom. I remember there was one guy making Master Chief suits. Oh my gosh, there's a little arcade over there. What the heck? Look at this booth. It's all just arcade games. That's a genius idea. Mario Brothers, the original. Oh my gosh. Hook. I haven't seen a Hook machine in 1,000 years. Look at this, even Imperial Troopers, even Spider-Man is into arcade. Everybody's into arcade games. Everybody wants to recapture a little bit of the past. Oh, we got Hellboy over here. There's Waldo again. Look at this. Asteroids, Space Invaders, Bomb Jack. There was a guy at my parents' church when I was a kid who built and repaired arcade games, like on Brookhurst in Anaheim. This is sort of right when arcades were all being dismantled, so they were relatively affordable at the time. I thought one day I'm going to have those. The generation that's a little bit older than me, their dream was always to have pinball machines. Mine was to get that 4-player Ninja Turtles game or Simpsons game. I've still never done it. Firstly, they've gotten really expensive, and secondly, I'm kind of like, where would I put that? How often would I play? Well, let's face it, I'd probably play it all the time. That's why you never really hear me talk about video games, as a matter of fact. I had to almost semi-retire from them. It's like Halo, Combat Evolved, and Halo 2. Even to an extent, Halo 3. The online multiplayer, man, sucked me in forever, like for years. All those years I was in a band, that's all I wanted to do is get home and play multiplayer. On Halo 2, I was the jam, dude. I had a really high rank and all that stuff. I was good at it. And then something really weird started happening. I started getting motion sickness whenever I would play, so I kind of took that as a sign, like maybe time to hang this up, spend more time with the fam. All right, I think I have briefly, Pennywise, briefly absorbed a lot of what's on the show floor, but as you can see, it's freaking massive. It took me 30 minutes just to walk back across it quickly. Time to take my new find over to Don Rosa. See if I can actually get this stuff signed. He had quite a line earlier. But I see some other familiar faces have returned over here, so this might be my moment. There's so much cool stuff here, you guys, at Don Rosa's booth. You gotta read the life and times of Scrooge McDuck. He comes across all these historical figures. There's Old West history, Mississippi Riverboat Pilot. That's one of my favorites right there, Buck McDuck. So as you saw, Old West stuff. I mean, everything is everything. If you're into history, if you're into adventure, if you're into Indiana Jones, you'll love the life and times of Scrooge McDuck. And it turns out Don Rosa is awesome. His reputation was unfounded, the negative side that I heard. Super cool. It takes a ton of time. If you're actually interested in what he actually did and does, super cool guy. This is so amazing. I've been sitting back here long enough to see one of his old regular visitors come, and he's doing a sketch for him, and it's amazing. I'm actually watching Don Rosa do a sketch, and if you're a Don Rosa fan, it's kind of a cool deal.
Oops. There's nothing is going where I want it.
Oh, looks good to me. Look at that.
But you don't. But it's all work. It's all out of, the thing when I do it, even drawing Duck's face, I use all my engineering tools.
Yeah, that's right.
And, center line.
You're very meticulous. That is so cool. I was talking about how in America here, he'll be drawing something. Nobody really cares much. In Europe, if he starts drawing, people are like, oh my gosh, he's drawing in public. Cameras come out, it'll get on the news. Side note, look at this entire family of toads back there. Awesome. Look at that. The inking phase is nearly complete. That is so cool.
Always do odds, just like jalapenos, habaneros.
That's the main thing you mentioned that caught my attention. You said you talked to some people at Disney.
Yeah.
And they said, don't mention DuckTales. Where does that come from?
I don't know.
I never said I didn't like DuckTales.
It must be the sign on the table. It
doesn't say anything bad about this about the new one.
But it's not the right story.
It's just letting people know you're not the DuckTales man. You're the Duck man.
Because America, I don't need that in Europe. But in America, people, if they're under the age of 60, they don't know there have ever been comic books.
Right. Well, I'm trying to let people know, Mr. Don.
DuckTales stole from Don quite a bit of stuff.
I noticed that. That's why I liked it.
For me, it belongs.
Well, they belong to, but I'm just saying they even if they were going to use anything that was more Barksy and a Rosa, they always picked Rosa, so he was like more than Barksy.
I don't want to hear that.
Look at that. Now erasing the pencil lines.
Oh, I'm sorry. You grabbed that one.
Meticulous. Oh, yeah. Oh, the shavings. Oh. We could sell those on eBay. Oh, wow. Colors coming out now. That is so... Okay, I am jealous. I am jealous of that guy. That is so cool. Free pictures, free signatures on his work. He'll only sign his work, which I can really respect. I like that. It's neat seeing other comic creators coming by, giving him comic books, telling them how much he inspired them. It's awesome. Oh, I'm jealous of those original sketches. Big time. I love this. He's got a 10-part...
one in my wallet.
Oh, you got an extra one.
Yeah, in case I misplaced it.
It's a 10-part series of books. He's got a cheat sheet so he remembers. If you have volume 3, you get again. So depending on which volume you get signed, it's got a different way to begin the dedication. I love that. I was so stoked when I found out they did an album themed after the Life and Times, excuse me. Look at this. Music inspired by the life and times of Scrooge. Written and produced by Thomas, I can't even... How do you pronounce his last name? Holopainen. Holopainen.
In Finnish, the accent's always on the first syllable.
Okay.
Holopainen.
Not as familiar with Finnish.
Everybody's, almost everybody's last name in Finland ends in A-I-N-E-N, which I think is the son of, or the...
Ah! It's like ending your name with son, like Richardson.
I just appreciated when I got to the part where Scrooge was a riverboat pilot, because I'm a big Mark Twain fan. And then I'm a big, Old West fan, so the whole putting Wyatt Earp in there. But the whole Buck McDuck saga, which was epic. Yukon Scrooge also epic.
So we're just in on him?
Yeah, look at that. I'm glad I found that. Somebody else found a whole bound volume.
It was at the same place.
Yeah, it probably was. I missed it. Or he beat me to it.
He still got them. They're up on the top shelf.
Oh, now you tell. Well, maybe tomorrow I'll come back.
People don't even think that anybody at a comic show would put these ignored comics as the most prominent part of his booth.
See, I need to go back and look. Dang it. I had to do a whole pile here. If I went on a whole mission, a crazy mission, just to come to Kansas City, just for you, Don, I might as well make it count. So awesome. Even Batman is a fan of Don Rosa. You guys, for a man who doesn't do interviews, Don Rosa sure has a lot of cool stories to tell. I came here just like kind of knowing like, oh yeah, you know, not knowing what to expect basically. Like, okay, you know, I know he doesn't do interviews, maybe he'll be a little shy. Expecting to get a few things signed, some for me, some for my friends, some for Tyler. I knew I was gonna have 2 days at the convention, so I had strawberry shortcake? Strawberry shortcake? I had no idea what I was gonna do. I'm thinking, you know, I gotta pace myself. I'm gonna be here tomorrow too. And Steven, who was helping Don, and Don just sort of invited me to come sit down, and we've been having conversations all day. I basically spent the bulk of the entire day over there with Don Rosa. That's not the kind of thing that can happen all the time. Just a totally surreal and overwhelming day. I didn't even get a chance to look at, oh Lloyd, look at Castle Grayskull, the firehouse, the vintage Ewoks, actually tons of vintage Star Wars in here. See, this is how I get in trouble. That'll all have to wait for tomorrow, because I still have to meet up with some other people here today. But let me tell you, side note, look at all the treats right here. That was the most amazing thing ever. And if you start getting into this whole story, if you look up all the Scrooge stuff, and I know it's a little niche here in America, I'm a huge fan of Don Rosa, not just because of his work, right? Not just because of doing the life and times of Scrooge, but if you guys know me, you know that what I'm into is legacy and storytelling and history, right? That's why I love Walt Disney, the guy, all the storytelling, and then the legacy continuing. I love Route 66, preserving a little bit of America's past, America's legacy. Don Rosa was a huge fan of Carl Barks and stepped into the universe of Uncle Scrooge with such care and precision and such, I don't know, elevating the material but staying so faithful to it. And to see the way that he cares about the legacy and the way that he continued it and sort of upped the stakes a little bit was amazing. I just wish we'd have had somebody like that for Star Wars. He was telling me that even as a kid, he was like, it's my manifest destiny, my destiny that one day I'll write one Uncle Scrooge story. And he found out about it because they published a fan's story. So like a fan came up with a story, they basically did an issue, he saw that and went, let me just call them up. And then he ended up taking the mantle of the Ducks on himself, which is really, really crazy. And he really cares about legacy all day long. Just to see people coming up to him and go, well, Carl Barks created the character. You got to check out Carl Barks. Carl Barks. And I love the way that he did this amazing work. Stuff that's inspired filmmakers, inspired me, inspired some of my friends. And yet he's like giving all credit to the legacy, to Carl Barks and all these other creators. It's amazing. I guess sometimes you should meet your heroes, because it turns out some of them are awesome. Well, at least on a good day anyways. And today was a great day. Oh wow, amazing Ursula dress. Look at that. I'm still lost and confused, but I'm trying to find my friend's booth that hooked me up with the badge today. Oh, thank goodness I found it. I found a flag. He was over here with Toink. I don't see him right now. Shout out to Julian, though, wherever he is. Just hoping to spot him and say thank you and everything before the show closed today, but we still have tomorrow. Ah, here he is, here he is, here he is, right over here. There he is right there, Julian. He saved me from that long line outside and came and gave me the badge. Thanks, Julian. You're the man.
Thank you for coming out.
All right, before I meet up with everybody else that I was supposed to meet up, and John's manager and all these people, I'm taking my carefully rolled up and rubber banded Don Rosa signed prints to the car. Oh my gosh, Your Royal Highness. Wow. Look at this. Some of these outfits are insane. I'm speechless. I'm tongue-tied. Uh-oh. Shh. Keep it cool. The detective right there. He must have been looking for some new weapons. I'm trying to think what my life goal costume would be. It was always Stormtrooper armor, which I finally have purchased. I have the armor, but it's not all put together. And I'm no good with that kind of stuff, like finishing it and getting the plastic and strapping it and doing all that. I think my bucket, as they call it, the helmet, is actually missing the eye glass, like the actual plastic over the eyes. And I just sort of like, so I've got it all in a tub, but I need help finishing it. That's probably my number one main thing I always wanted was Stormtrooper armor. Don't know why. I was trying to think beyond that, like fast forwarding to 2025, not a lifetime goal, but just with so many cool costumes and stuff out there. What else would I like to have, ideally? Maybe Halo armor? Halo armor is pretty cool. But then I get claustrophobic and fidgety. I could barely handle it during COVID when we had to wear a little cloth mask on my face. I don't know if I could handle wearing a helmet on my head all day, but I guess I won't know until I try. All right, well, Planet Comicon, it turns out, is amazing. Just absolutely awesome. Good vibes. Everybody here is so cool. People driving down from Des Moines, people driving down from Nebraska. I met a lot of people today who watch Random Land, which is really surprising and fun. Just a great day. Planet Comicon, a success. If you live anywhere near, or you just have the ability to get out here next year, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Now I just have to figure out how to get out of here and get back to the car. Oh my gosh, look at this. The other mother and Coraline together. Allie would have loved that costume right there. She'd think that's so cool. Dude, I thought it was mega, like, busy and confusing trying to get into this convention. I got so confused and so lost and turned around getting out. Those people back there stopped me because they watched the show. Then I saw their other family members dressed as the other mother and Coraline. I'm like, oh, I gotta get a shot of that, please. I've seen a few Coralines, and that Coraline back there was very well done, but the other mother, you never see that. You never, ever see that. There's so much convention that I didn't know existed. There's so much convention everywhere. There's that whole huge main hall, the upstairs part of it. There's stuff downstairs over there, and then there's all these side buildings and side panels and side meetups and things going on. Dude. Insane. And it all started with one guy putting on a little show for comic dealers and comic fans to get together, and then turned into this 26 years later, getting towards the end of the day. So a lot of the panels and things are done, so it's gotten a lot calmer. It's still so busy on the main show floor. Wild. Oh, anyway, I have to go to my car to drop off the Don Rosa stuff and to pick up something that I am dropping off to John Rhys Davies that I was picking up in LA the other day. A little thank you present for our Indiana Jones ride and stuff like that. So, because I think we have to meet up in that weird little area over there where all the staff are very anti-camera, I might have to see you on the flip side of that. I'll tell you what, I really like Kansas City because everybody who recognized me here today and stopped me, literally every single one of them was like, welcome to Kansas City. We really hope you enjoy your stay here. Let us know if you need anything. Like, what a welcoming place. Missouri, I love Missouri, dude. The show me say. I also love Kansas. And, you know, Kansas City is right on the Kansas City, Missouri. And then there is a Kansas City, Kansas. They're all kind of connected. It's Midwestern hospitality, man. Old school Midwestern hospitality. Just like my grandparents had. I like it. I really like it out here. I'll tell you a little secret. I always wanted to move to Missouri. I don't know if Allie could handle the summers though. And then there's the winters. Probably in the high 50s or maybe possibly even 60 degrees out here today though, which is pretty darn lucky for March in Kansas and Missouri, that's for sure. I just realized this part of the conversation is not all that interesting. Okay, I'll see you on the flip side. Oh no. So that's what's under that mouse head. Oh no. Walt! What happened to Walt? All right, the update nobody asked for. I went over and saw John Rhys Davies, delivered the package that I was delivering to him. A little thank you gift for our adventure in Disneyland. Swung by Chris Bartlett's booth, said hi to Chris, who was also there with us at Disneyland the other day. Took a fun pic together. And everybody's gonna be here tomorrow again too, so hopefully we'll meet up then and do all our chatting tomorrow. They also had big long lines over there. Saturday, apparently, it makes sense, is the biggest day out here. So hopefully things will be a bit more mellow tomorrow. I have to reiterate one more time, I really enjoyed Planet Comicon. It's been amazing, like absolutely fantastic. Good vibes, everybody's so nice, like I said. I think I might come back next year. I think I might. Maybe I'll get a little table. Let me know in the comment section below if I come next year and have a little table. Will you come visit me? I'll bring some tiki masks, I'll bring some books, we'll hang out. What do you say? Anyway, I'm just making my way back over to Don Rosa, say goodbye until tomorrow, until we meet again. And I'm heading back to the hotel. But first, some food, and I have an exciting food update for you in a minute. If any food update can be exciting, this one's exciting to me. Oh my gosh, a Nightwing. You never see Nightwing. That is cool. All right, he was a little distracted at first, but we made our goodbyes. Hopefully I'll see the whole gang tomorrow. But you never know what's gonna happen tomorrow. It's Kansas City, baby. Anything can happen. Look at this. There's some Starfleet officers over here looking at droids. I see a lot of stuff I didn't get a good look at today. But like Andy said, there's always tomorrow. I love you, tomorrow. Epic day, my friends. Epic day. Not quite over for me. If you watched yesterday's video, you'll know I didn't eat the whole time on that plane. I only ate a few chips last night. I am freaking starving. This is so weird. I mean, I know it's the weekend, but downtown got so empty now as people are drifting away from the convention. Look at this. I've never been driving behind a streetcar before. Weird. Well, it took me a little while to extricate myself from downtown. Downtown Kansas City is full of such cool stuff, so awesome. But I did eventually make it out. And now I'm almost there, almost to the payoff. 2 days of basically not eating anything but some chips. Oh, and a couple of string cheese. Let's not forget those. But finally, my moment has arrived. A 100% gluten-free restaurant. BB Bop Asian. I told you they're everywhere but California. What the heck? Oh, finally, food. Awesome. Oh my gosh, they just got Korean crispy chicken and salmon. New stuff for me to try. New stuff. It's infinitely nicer than the one in Santa Monica, California, I'll tell you that much, which is the only one in our entire state for some reason. I'm getting the spicy chicken today. I'm gonna be here for a couple of days, so glad to know there's at least one restaurant I can eat at safely. Like I was saying, it's really rare that I get to eat out anywhere, so I would have loved to eat the food here, but I thought, you know what? Let's just go back to my place. Just came right back to my room at the My Place Hotel. I'll tell you what, there's no place like home. And it feels like home a little bit. This isn't a paid sponsorship or anything, but I'd happily accept one. Just saying. Same thing with BB Bop, you know? I always say, if they just put a few restaurants in California, I'd be their spokesperson for free. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for coming on this adventure with me. It's been a heck of a good time. And there are still a few more days to go. I met a lot of people today who came up and were like, just thank you for the videos. Thank you for everything you do. And so by extension, I have to thank you, because without you watching them, there would be no videos. And especially doubly so for our Patreon members. Guys, I do have a store. Store.randomland.com, or just type in randomland.com. All the links are there, social media, all that stuff. For now, though, it's time to hotel and eat well. You've done your duty. Go home, sleep well. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Gotta shout at her. Gotta shout at the devil. Never had time to appreciate how pretty Kansas City is. Oh no! Someone stole Mark Twain's cigar! No! I didn't know that.
But
so
it didn't
Carl
have all of
Barks
this.
is the one who did most of the family tree.
Because he created all the characters. And then I went through and got the different members of the Duck family that he had mentioned in stories over his 25-year career. So then I added like this character and this character. And
Wow.
I only created husbands or wives for characters that already existed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be, they could be on the, like that Molly Mallard I invented just because Dirty Dingus, he had said his grandfather was a miner, so I knew that. And these are all characters that were in most of the
Clan McDuck.
Dark stories anyway. And then Ludwig von Drake he didn't create, but he did use him in one-page gag that maybe somebody else in 1961 when that was a character on the Wonderful World of Disney or the Wonderful World of Color.
Yeah.
So he makes him an official Barks character, and to be an uncle to Donald, he would have to be married to Scrooge's sister Matilda. And Quackmore Duck, I think he named Quackmore Duck.
Well, we never figured out Donald's father because Carl Barks never named him.
That's right. So I've never named him.
See, I love that you're faithful to all the Carl Barks stuff, but the timeline, the way you standardize the timeline is like, I don't know how you did that.
I just worked it out on a sheet of paper. But the problem here is, look, here's Grandma Duck. It's like a generation before Scrooge McDuck, because it's Donald's grandma and Scrooge is his uncle. So she must be much older than Scrooge, which makes it kind of strange.
It's like a song in the works.
But in Europe, they'd always thought that Grandma Duck, and that's the only name she had, was his sister. But that's not necessary because there's two sides of every family.
Right.
So she doesn't have to be related to him at all. And that name, Elvira, came from a Don Barks story, but it was a story back in the early 50s. And I'm not sure who wrote it, but she showed baby pictures of herself, and it was said Elvira, which would be like a baby's pronunciation
like a baby version
of Elvira.
Ah.
So, and that's the same thing. Humperdinck was a name in another old comic from the early 50s. Not a Barks comic, but if somebody else already gave him a name, I'm not going to say your name is no good, mine is no, if they already named him.
I like that.
But nobody ever named him, so I just never named him.